As I said, there are some VA benefits. There's some good news for veterans. In certain circumstances, veterans can get up to $1,644 a month for a single veteran, up to $1,949 for a married veteran, and up to $1,056 for the surviving spouse of a veteran. The requirements are that you have to have 90 days of active duty military service with at least one of those days during wartime. You also have to be permanently and totally disabled or over 65. VA thinks if you're over 65, you're permanently and totally disabled. You also have to have income less than the VA benefit amount, and you have to have liquid assets for a married couple of less than $80,000. So again, they're going to have to use up or give away those assets. With the VA, there is no transfer penalty, though, like there is with Medicaid. So sometimes if I have someone who may qualify for VA benefits but not for Medicaid, we may be able to give some of those assets to their children and qualify them for these VA benefits. Aid and attendance can be used. These benefits from VA can be used for assisted living care, in-home care, or nursing home care. So again, they're a little bit better than the Medicaid, which can be only accessed in a nursing home, but you're still not going to be able to preserve all of your assets. Let's talk about the last evil of estate planning, and that's death taxes. There are two types of death taxes. There's federal estate tax and there's state inheritance tax. Now, we just recently had some new law on federal estate tax at the end of last year. Remember, Congress finally did something. They took a few days and actually worked, and they came up with a new law. And for estate tax, there is now an estate tax only for estates greater than $5 million. For a married couple, that's $10 million. So most people now are not going to be affected by federal estate tax because there aren't that many people in America who have an estate greater than $5 million or $10 million. And so that's something we probably don't have to worry about for the next couple of years. But this law only lasts until the end of 2012. And then Congress is going to hopefully do something else and do it permanently so that we'll have an idea of how we can plan going forward. I do have some good news, though, for state inheritance tax. Here in Louisiana, we no longer have state inheritance tax as of 2008. So for anyone who died after 2008, there is no state inheritance tax at all. The basic estate and gift tax rules, it's a tax on everything. The rates begin at 45%. There is a $13,000 annual exclusion. What that means is that you can give $13,000 a year to anyone, and the IRS says we don't care. We're not even going to count that. So for them, that's a de minimis gift. So if anybody wants to make a de minimis gift to me afterwards, I'll be glad to accept it. You can have an unlimited marital deduction. You can give all of your property to your spouse, and there is no tax, and an unlimited charitable deduction. You can give all your property to charity, and there's no tax. Bill Gates is giving the majority of all of his property to charity, so there won't be any estate tax. And as I said, there's a $5 million estate tax exemption amount. So for most people, estate tax is not going to be an issue for the next few years. So what are your estate planning options? Well, you can do nothing. We saw what would happen then. You can do it yourself. That's why I asked if we had any engineers here, because engineers are always do-it-yourself kind of people. Or you can seek competent legal counsel. If you do nothing, you're going to let the state of Louisiana decide who gets your property. There may be some extra cost if that guardianship or that interdiction is required. You're not going to be able to protect your irresponsible, disabled, or young heirs. There may be disputes among your family members that deplete your estate. or you may have to deplete all of your estate to pay for long-term care costs. So that's what happens if you do nothing. This is a prime example of someone who did nothing. This is an article from 1998. You probably can't read it, but it says, "Cancer robbed Magnus of time to plan." And this is about someone who was the founder of TCI Communications. His name was Bob Magnus, and he had cancer. And he didn't have time to implement his estate plan. And this is a interview with one of his best friends. And he says the pathetic thing about it is that one of the things Bob didn't like was paying taxes. In his first public comments on the topic, Malone described how Magnus's death on November 15, 1996, left Colorado's largest estate in disarray. We had probably spent more time together and with experts talking about estate planning more than any two individuals you know. He had this well thought out plan, but he never had time to implement it. Now, Mr. Magnus had to pay about $400 million in estate tax. If there's anyone here who thinks they're going to have a $400,000 estate tax bill, see me immediately afterwards, okay? For most of us, the thing that's going to drive estate planning is not taxes. It's making sure that we have taken care of the people that we love. And there's never a guarantee that we're going to have time to do that. And so just like Mr. Magnus, I've had a lot of clients who had a well thought out plan, but they didn't live long enough to implement it. So what about the do-it-yourselfers, those engineers? Well, you can go online, you can get on the internet, you can Google estate planning, Louisiana wills, anything like that, and you're going to pull up lots and lots of websites. This is one from something called Kiplinger's Willpower. And it says on the first line here, updated state-specific documents. The little asterisk there by state-specific. You go down here to the bottom and it says state-specific documents are not valid in Louisiana. Well, why do you think that is? Our law is different than that of the rest of the states. Here's another one. This is a little quiz on the AARP website. It says, why can't residents of Louisiana use self-help will preparation materials? Well, their legal system is different. Believe it or not, many of Louisiana's laws are based on something called the Code Napoleon, a legislated system of law designed at the behest of the little emperor himself. In modern practice, it doesn't mean much, but there are enough quirks in the areas of wills and estates to make a trip to the lawyer's office pretty much mandatory. So can you do it yourself? Absolutely. I've made some of my best money on people who did it themselves when we came along afterwards and had to fix it. So, or you can seek competent legal advice, which of course is what I suggest.